Every story begins long before the opening shot, before the dialogue, before the conflict. It begins in the quiet place where emotion lives. The ache, the longing, the memory you can't quite name. Welcome to Backstory Movies, a space for people who don't just watch films, they feel them, who listen for the silence between lines, who notice the way a character breathes when they're holding back the truth, who understand that sometimes the most powerful moments are the ones that never fully happen. Here, we explore cinema the way it was meant to be experienced, through emotion, psychology, and the invisible threads that pull characters and us towards something deeper. If you've ever walked out of a movie carrying a feeling you just couldn't shake, you're in the right place. This is Backstory Movies, where every frame has a heartbeat and every story has a soul. I want to talk about something we don't admit out loud. Not to our friends, not to our families, and definitely not to the parts of ourselves that still pretend we're fine. You ever hear that saying, I'm okay? I'm okay? You're okay? I'm not okay? Well, sometimes you're not okay. And not necessarily because something's wrong with you, it's just because maybe something's just wrong, not with you. It's the moment you realize you've outgrown the life you've built, not because it was bad. It may or may not have been, I don't know. Not because it failed, but because you changed, quietly, internally, in ways you didn't have language for at the time. This episode is about starting over when you're not supposed to. It's about the psychology of becoming someone new while the world still expects you to be who you once were. Because becoming isn't an aesthetic. It's a dismantling of things. It's a rupture, a quiet rebellion that takes place. A moment where you finally tell the truth to yourself. And the truth is this: you don't need permission to start over. You just need honesty. You need courage. Oh, yes, a whole lot of that. You need a moment where you say, I can't keep living a life that doesn't fit me anymore. And if you're listening right now, I know you felt that because trust me, I know that you have. And maybe you're feeling it right now. But nobody talks about this stuff. This these episodes are meant for you to listen to in your quiet times when you're not hurried or bothered. There's a cinematic moment no one talks about, but it's in every movie. And you must listen to my following episode 2 weeks from now. You'll see what I'm talking about. But there's a scene where the character realizes the life they've been living is too small for the person they're becoming. It's subtle, yet quiet. It's not an explosion, not a chase scene, not a dramatic monologue. It's the moment they look at themselves and whisper, this isn't me anymore. That's the moment that changes everything. And in real life, that moment doesn't come with a soundtrack. It does not. It comes with discomfort, with confusion, with the fear that if you change, you lose everything familiar. But here's the twist, and this is where the cinematic psychology kicks in. You're not losing yourself, you're returning home. You're shedding the version of you that was built for survival. Now, we all have that version, putting up a front, pretending everything's okay, living by old scripts, those kind of things. Being in relationships that no longer serve us, being part of a family that no longer serves us, being a part of a company that no longer serves us. So you're living in survival mode. Still, you're shedding the version of you that was built for that. That's what coming home is all about. That's what becoming is all about. You're stepping into the version built for expression, for truth and alignment. And that shift, that internal click, is the beginning of becoming. And the truth is, more people are going through this than ever before. People are searching the web for, where is the next phase of my life going? What do I do with my life? What is my purpose in life? Why am I here? All of those unanswered questions. You can feel it in the way that we talk about our lives now. There's a quiet pull toward identity reinvention, this ache for emotional transformation, this sense that the story we've been living no longer matches the person we're becoming. It's also taking a look at the world and seeing what it's becoming. And we wonder, what's going on in our lives? What's going on in the world? Why is this way? It's why so many of us find ourselves searching for language around self reinvention, trying to understand the psychology behind an inner identity shift, trying to make sense of the moment when your old life stops fitting and your new one isn't fully formed yet. We don't always call it transformation. Sometimes we feel restless. Sometimes it feels like a whisper. And sometimes, yes, it feels like a cinematic moment. The kind where the camera lingers on a character who suddenly realizes they can't go back to where they were. That's the heartbeat of psychological growth. That's the beginning of becoming. And it is that moment, and in that moment, that your becoming self starts to speak to you. The psychology of overcoming, the part you really don't see on camera, because this is a story of your life in the private places of your life, of your existence. People love the glow up. People love, that's why everybody's on social media. They love the glow up. They love the this. They love the this. They love, oh yeah, see what I'm wearing? See what I'm doing? Let me show off the glow up. But is that reality? No, it's not. People love the glow up. They love the transformation. They love the after. But the psychology of becoming is built in the during, the during, the transition, the transitional part. People love to see the after effect of everything, but they don't know what it took to get there. Nothing is a, nothing is ever happily ever after. Is during those wee times, those wee moments, the hours of life where nobody's watching, and the things that you're going through, nobody sees, nobody understands. You don't even understand it. It's built in the nights you question everything. The moments, the mornings you wake up with a quiet ache. The moments you feel like you're walking away from a life you worked so hard to build. But here's the emotional grounding. You're not walking away from your life. You're walking towards the light, your truth. And that's what makes this journey so powerful. You're not starting over because you failed. You're starting over because you evolved. And why does this matter right now? Why does this matter right now in my life, in your life, in this world that we're living? It does matter because we're living in a time when people are searching desperately for meaning, for identity, for emotional clarity. Search engines are flooded with, how do I reinvent myself? What is my purpose? Why do I feel disconnected from my life? How do I become a person I know I'm meant to be? Why do I feel like I'm outgrowing everything? When you start feeling like that, those aren't trends. I felt those feelings. They're not trends. Trust me, they're not. They're symptoms. They're symptoms. It's erratic. It's destabilizing. It's your awakening. And if you're here listening to this, you've already found the presence of your awakening. You're already in your becoming. Let me say this. Here's a moment of truth for you. Let me say something that you may never have heard before. Okay? You may have never heard it put this way before. You're not behind. I used to feel this way. You're not late. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just transitioning. And I say it like that because I know I live that feeling. I used to think something was wrong with me. I used to question things about me, not everybody else, but me. But that's not what it was. I couldn't articulate it at the time. I didn't understand it, but now I can. I was just transitioning from the old self to the new self, to the new self I was becoming, to her. I was coming home to her. But sometimes it's confusion. I didn't understand it. But boy, and that wasn't that long ago for me. It wasn't that long ago for me. You're shifting identities. You're shedding narratives. You're writing the internal script. And that takes time. It takes compassion. It takes self-love. I'm telling you, you must love yourself deeply and dearly and be patient with yourself during a transition. Any kind of transition, any kind of transition you've been through, whether you're starting a new job, whether you're moving to a new city, whether you're moving to something new, you transition that moment between where you once were to the new environment. It takes time to adjust. This is how your life is. More important than any of those things. So it takes time. You must be patient with yourself. You must be. You must have compassion for yourself. And one of the greatest things you must have is emotional stamina. But you're doing it. You're going to do it, even on the days you don't feel like it. Emotional stamina was the biggest thing for me, to have the emotional stamina to withhold the transition. But I did because I cultivated so much in my life prior to that. I had so much welled up in me and so much seed that was cultivated that I watered every single day of my life. So that's why emotionally I could handle it. I could withstood it. I could handle that shift. But I tell you what happened even more so. I fell more in love with myself. I gave myself more compassion, more self-care, much more patience. Because you have to. Because it's not easy going through this. And since I know how hard the journey is, it's going to be. You're going to need some guides. You're not always going to hear my voice. So I created some tools that can help you navigate this journey, not from a place of pressure, but not from a place of, I don't know, inauthenticity, but from a place of empowerment, from a place of truth. I created the Identity Frequency Collection. This is the version of you who's ready to understand your emotional patterns. That's the first one you get. That's the first flagship product that you get. That's on my site right now at creativityisexpression.com. I don't know if, you know what, okay, let me not say that. But creativityisexpression.com. I may not have mentioned the name, the domain name. I may not have mentioned that. So I'll mention it again here. Creativityisexpression.com. And then I also created the emotional signature journals. These are journals. For those of you, there are 5 journals. For those of you who are ready to process, release, rebuild. It's 3 stages: process, release, rebuild. They guide you through the emotional architecture of becoming, the parts that feel messy, the parts that feel powerful, and the parts that feel like truth is finally landing in your body. Do you know what it feels like when truth is finally landing in your body? My body knows it. I felt that when my body shifted, everything changed. My entire body changed because now I embody my becoming. Before that, the transition period, my body was erratic. My mind, body, soul, and spirit were not 1,000% aligned. They were not. They were still going through the shifting phase. And that's when I really got uncomfortable. But I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. I did. Because I wanted this transition, this change to occur in my life. I needed it to. I needed it to. I had so many reasons why I needed to do it. I needed to do it for my past, I needed to do it for my present, and I needed to do it for my future. So my journals, 5 parts. They aren't products. They're companions, they're guides, they're mirrors, they're tools for the person you're becoming, not the person you're leaving behind. And if you're listening to this episode right now, I know you're becoming someone extraordinary. So here's the moment, the turning point. There is one in every cinematic story where the character stops running from themselves and starts running towards themselves. And that's where you are. You're running home, back to yourself. You missed her. You missed him. You're ready to go home. It's not a physical place. It's a metaphoric place. It's a it's a place of reimagining what life is. Not would be like, but is if you lived it authentically. You. You're not lost. You're in transition. You're in the in-between, the space between space. The space between where your old identity dissolves and your new one begins to take shape. And that space is sacred. Honor that space. It's precious because it's in that space that you will always remember and be reminded of what happened during that transition. The dissolving of the old self, to witness that, to be able to feel that, to see that, and to stand in that. You don't just take that for granted. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also where your power returns. You never take the transition for granted because it's in that transition. You can't go back. So you've got to face things, truths, uncomfortability, old worlds, old selves, old habits, old people. All of these dialogues that you had that were dialogues you never were supposed to have. Old narratives, old legacies, old conditioning, old mentalities, old beliefs that were scripted in your psyche, in your mindset, that imprinted a footprint on your life to this day. There's an identity that is scripted in your life that's been set on your life. And you wonder why you're living. No, you're not living in the existence you were meant to live. But it's through this transition. You must go through it in order to get to the other side. The shift is letting you know something's not right. And it's not you. It's something, and you need to know what it is. So you need to face it with courage and compassion and guides that can help you along the way. I came through that. I am able to witness what I went through and to witness my becoming. If this episode made you feel seen, if it helped you breathe a little deeper, if it reminded you that you're not alone in your becoming, I'd love for you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people find this work, and it tells the world that cinematic psychology storytelling matters. And if you're listening on Spotify, tap the follow button so you never miss an episode. Your support genuinely helps this show to grow. So, if I were to close this episode, I would say this simply: you're not starting over, you're stepping into alignment. You're becoming the version of you and your story that your story has been leading you towards all along. That's crazy to experience that the best version of yourself that's been calling you these many years and years and years has been waiting for you to be in existence of that. And if you want deeper cinematic psychology storytelling, the kind that feels like a movie, a mirror, and a revelation, you're more than welcome to find more at backstorymovies.com. Your story isn't over. You're just entering your next scene. And what will that scene be? It's up to you. This is Annette. Thank you for listening. Some stories end, but the ones that matter don't. They echo in the quiet moments, the late night thoughts, the places where your own memories rise to meet them. That's what we explore here at Backstory Movies. Not just what a film shows, but what it stirs: the longing, the almost, the ache that stays long after the credits fade. If something in today's episode stayed with you, a scene, a feeling, A question? Follow that thread. There's more waiting for you. Visit BackstoryMovies.com for deeper dives, cinematic guides, and stories that make you feel something real. Until next time, keep watching closely, keep feeling deeply, and remember, the best stories don't end, they begin again with you.